Hi folks, another pieces of my life, darkness. Just wanted to have a bit of a talk about probably darkness in different aspects. There's darkness, and to me there's darkness. But to start off with, we'll do this. And a good one for darkness, we might as well have old the bloke with a bad wheeze, old Darth, and that has actually got the soup in. That's pretty bloody dark where it's red. Okay, darkness, getting back to the point of what this video is about, I think comes in at least a couple of different levels. What darkness means to me: everyday darkness to me is I've tried for a long time to find words to explain it, but I've never really found good ones. I suppose if I had to explain it in any way, it's to me it's comfort. Darkness is comfort. It's either in you or it isn't, to a degree. Everybody has darkness, it's to the degree. A great quote that I always loved, and I can't remember which by, I never really learned it, and I can't quote it exactly, but it goes along the lines of, to understand the darkness in someone else, you've got to understand the darkness in yourself. And it makes sense. If you don't, you don't know how to combat that. Same with lots of things in life. There's a opposite to everything: light, dark, sweet, sour, hard, soft, up, down, whatever. Just about, I'd say just about most things in life there's the opposite, and we never really understand the thing that we have if we don't understand the opposite. So if you come into this world and you know soft, you would never know what hard is unless you experience it. So you got to go, oh yeah, I know that's soft, isn't it? Because somebody said it's soft. But what's it mean? How do you know it's soft? Well, it feels like that somebody said it is. Okay, feel this. Oh, bugger, that's a bit different, isn't it? Oh, something hell. That hurts your bloody fingers, doesn't it? Yes, that's called hard. Right. Hard, soft. Yeah, I understand that now. That feels different. It stops suddenly, it hurts your bloody fingers. That's nice, and it's pleasing, and your fingers go in, and so understand how you've suddenly learnt what this thing you always knew soft is all about, and you only knew it because of the hard. You could have sweet all the time. Oh, this is nice, I don't know why, but I like it. It's weird. Try this stuff. What the hell's that? That's called sour. Ah, bloody hell, man, that makes your freaking eyes roll around that. And it gets you, yeah, it gives you the bloody total opposite to this, what I've been calling sweet. But you didn't really understand what sweet was until you experienced the opposite. And it's the same with light and dark. If you go through life like some people do and say, oh, dark, no, you can't do that. It's as much of your life as it is the light. I'm very much a person of the light, but I do understand the dark, and I don't push dark away because, like I said, we have got it in us. Why have we got it in us? Because if we don't have it, we won't understand the light. So people that go around saying, I'm holier than holy and I'm all light and there's nothing else, kid themselves. Just don't want to accept that there is a dark there. And you need it. It's there for a purpose. It's so you understand what light is and you understand what dark is, and whether you're happy with that or whether you want to mix it or whatever, or go that way. Okay, so yeah, there is darkness in everybody, in everything, really. I've known from a very early age that certain things would happen in my life that maybe some people had called dark. It must have been for a reason. Very early on in age, I would notice feelings, I would notice things around me, I'd notice spiritual things around me. I would walk into a place, I would know whether it was light or whether it was flipping dark, and I'm not talking about whether the light switch is on. Those things have all stayed with me and probably grown over the years. Well, yeah, I'd say they have. I think very early, I was young, I didn't fully understand what these things were. But the older you're getting and the more you understand and the more these things are in your life, you get to know and understand and come to terms with them. And you know where you want to go and where you don't want to go. So there's darkness, what we call like, oh yeah, gosh, we're darkly inclined. Yeah, we are. We love things that other people go, I don't want to bloody know. We love black crows, we love skulls, we love coffins. Dead bodies don't particularly make us go, ugh. Somebody said that place is haunted, let me get in there and have a look. Things that other people maybe go, sod you, I'm off. We do confront things probably more than a lot of people. And a lot of what we call the dark side of goth is, it's just part of our subculture. We're not really dark with it. And some of the people within the goth subculture that are some of the lightest, loveliest people under the sun, and have that dark side, it's part of the goth subculture. But then outside of the subculture, and probably with some people within it, there's dark that's very, very black. And for me, I've mentioned it in the past, that experiences where I've gone to places and I've walked in, I could walk into a building and it's fine. Lovely, nothing, it's just a building. A room, just the room. That room's just the room. I've gone, this was one place I worked. It's fine. You wouldn't think anything when you was there. You needed more supplies for the work you were doing. You went upstairs to this one room where it kept those supplies. Now I think this place was at one time a house, a home. It was just like going from downstairs to upstairs. Go in this room, so open the door, walk in, wallop, dark. It was just dark, and it would come down on you. Walk out, it's gone. Go downstairs, it never went anywhere apart from that room. I've worked in other places, some very, very old places, where there was, to some degree, there's spirituality there. At least I could feel it everywhere. Darkness, there was some places more dense than others, which if you was here, you thought, yeah, there, this feels a little bit more claustrophobic, we'll call it. I never went anywhere within this building, and we're talking about a very old Gothic building going back a lot of years. I never went anywhere where it was dark to where you thought, getting out of this bloody room. Never anywhere. But 24/7 there was activity there, but it wasn't, some people would call it dark. It wasn't dark, it wasn't threatening, anything like that. It just, you could just feel it, and it wasn't your everyday feelings. So there was a type of darkness there, but again, not the very dark. 3 times in my life I felt dark. And what I call the dark is when you're crossing over from spirituality and spirits and all that, and you're crossing over to really the darker side, and you're talking about evil. Evil is flipping dark. And I felt evil, and I felt pitch bloody black evil. The 3 times, what I can think of, one, probably the first one, when I was married, we lived in this house. We had I think it was like a 25-foot living room, and one end, the stairs were in the living room, went upstairs, and our home never ever felt bad. There was never anything bad there. But this day, me, my ex, 2 friends, friend and his wife were sitting there. He was talking about things that he did quite a while back, and it wasn't that he was evil or anything, but it's just things that were happening to him. And this is where I often say, when people talk about Ouija boards, and I used to call them bloody Ouija boards, I love the name Ouija board, Ouija boards and that, bloody heck, never having one of them, I'm frightened to light, you do something with them, bloody evil and spirits, and end of the day, evil spirit, a good spirit, an evil spirit does not need a board to come in. It's a load of hype and everything. It's not the board that's doing it. You could have it written on drawn on a bit of paper or anything, and you can draw it in any design you want, whatever. It's not the bloody board, it's what you're doing. What we were doing was we were talking about lots of things that were very dark. And we wasn't dark people, but we was talking about very heavy dark things. And I just happened to look up like that, probably for a reason. And if my eyes sitting here, my room went that way, and a shadow on the ceiling about 3 foot deep, I'd say, going right across the width of the room, just slowly went right across the ceiling. And I just looked, I said, right, that's it. Talk about something else now, we've got to stop talking about this, because we brought that evil in, and it literally manifested itself as this dark shadow. It was like dark smoke, mist, whatever, but it just went in one layer right across the ceiling. So we stopped, and that was it. That was the first time, I think. Second time, funny enough, second time, same 4 people, me, my ex, and those 2 friends. My ex and I used to go for walks to this little village, down to a stream where you could, there was stepping stones over it. I mean, the stream was only that freaking deep. Stepping stones, and just before you got to it, there's this lovely old church. Really nice old church, but we never ventured in. And this particular day was with these 2 friends. And Dave, he's very adventurous. Let's go in there, have a look. So went through the gate, inside the church. The door was locked, so you couldn't get in. Nobody there, so you couldn't get in to have a look. So let's have a go down to the back. Walking down, and the further I got down, the feelings changed, and it got darker and darker. And by the time I got to the end of the building, and there was this narrow churchyard going down, a very old one. They were well in front, because I think I was feeling the weight of this flipping darkness building up. They were way in front of me. By the time I got about maybe a third down this long graveyard, they were half to a little bit further in. And eventually I said, hey, I'll catch you up at the road when you come back up. And the more I walked, the darker it got, the darker it got. And it was like somebody or a wall was pushing me and saying, stop. And I kept walking. Now I could have kept walking and walking. But I got to that stage where I thought, I don't bloody want this anymore. It was so flipping dark. So yeah, I did go out. That was the second time I experienced the darker side of it. I knew that there was something, someone didn't want me in that flipping churchyard. And funny enough, I was talking to somebody online a few years later, and where it was and all that, and they come back and said, while we've been talking, I've been looking up that village, church and everything, and said if you go back into history, a lot of weird crap was happening there. And yeah, I think that's probably what it was to do with it. But it was very weird, strange stuff that was going on. The third one, which I didn't like at all, which a lot of people are not going to like me for, was all to do with David Bowie. I always liked David Bowie, I liked his music, I love Labyrinth film. But David Bowie, for however good he was, had some bloody weird crap going on in his life. And wasn't till he did just before he died, and he did Black Star video. First time I watched it all the way through, and I thought, oh, bloody, I felt so flipping bad. The vibes were coming to, so bloody bad. A few days later I watched it again, and then I watched this other one he did, and again all I was doing was watching these videos, and the darkness just bloody Black Star just come out like nobody's business. Everybody has said to, hey, David Bowie's new video, Black Star, have a watch of it, tell me what you think. When I went back, I said, what do you think? They said, didn't see it all. Started watching it, I felt ill. So I'm not saying it works for everybody, but I think if you're the sort of person that picks stuff up, brings it in, you will feel it. Anyway, this day, sitting here, it was a different settee, I think, at that time. Sitting here, window there, watched it. And like I said, I would get not very far into it when I'd start feeling bad, ill. Watched it, watched something else. Then all of a sudden, blackness around me, and I've never felt darkness as thick and black as I felt after. I was watching that, and then I was studying, trying to figure out what was, and that's where I was doing the wrong thing. I was, as I said, you start doing all that, darkness goes, ooh, hang on, let's get in there. And it went thick, so thick I felt really flipping ill, and I could feel it. And in the end I said, take this off me, take this off me, I can't freaking stand this, take it off me. And within seconds, this window here, outside that window in the summer, there's trees, and they have all the bloody leaves on, and it really blocks you off. You get some sort of light coming in. I said, take this bloody off me. And all of a sudden, rays of light, like beams, came in the flipping window, which I never get because of the trees. So I looked, I thought, flipping heck. Went and stood up, looking out the window, and I could see where the beams were coming from. And it wasn't it couldn't have been the sun, because I was looking at it, and the sun, you can't, when it's that bright, you can't look at it. And as I was looking at it, this darkness just, I'll tell you one thing, I haven't ever gone against that. I've never watched it again, and I have no intentions of flipping watching it again. So, sorry if it does upset anybody, but there is something to do with that bloody film. And if you do watch it, don't go delving into it too much. So yeah, there is darkness. It's always there. The very, very dark is always there. It's just don't concentrate on too much. If you're not into really, really darkness, which I know some people are, leave it there. Don't ponder like we're talking about now, which now I'm going to bloody shut up. But yeah, it is a piece of my life. And I just happen to be somebody that can feel when there's a change around me. It's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily an evil thing. Generally, it's just feeling a difference between there and there. But I'd say to anybody, if you're ever anywhere and it feels very, very dark, walk off in the other fucking direction, because it will pull you down. So folks, yeah, piece of my life, darkness. It's there in different ways. It's there in how it affects my daily part of life, and it's there within the goth subculture. And the goth subculture form of darkness I really flipping enjoy. It's very comforting, and it's comforting because we have it. It is part of us. It's part of the opposite, light and dark. Without light, you wouldn't know what the hell darkness was. Without darkness, you wouldn't know what the heck light was. So got to be thankful for that. And on that note, go back to frickin' Darth Vader and sit down and think about flipping sunbeams and fairies and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but bloody heck.